Rachel. Now, we're going to go over to Manya soon to hear about research funding solutions, but before that, we do have a short client showcase from Rachel Chidlow, who is the Research Services Manager at the University of Auckland. If any of you were in the session yesterday afternoon that Julia and Gearmont ran on hosting, then this will add some additional color and hopefully build upon that. If you didn't manage to get to watch that, you can obviously go back and watch the recording later. They will be sent around sometime next week. So yes, Rachel is going to tell you about migrating to hosting and upgrading on a hosted instance of Elements. And I'll pass over to you, Rachel.
Great, thank you, Natalie. Just checking I've got the right screen shared.
Yeah, all lovely. Go ahead.
Woohoo! First milestone reached. Tēnā koutou katoa, no ingarangi oku tipuna. I tipu aku o I te rohe o Kirikiriroa. Nō reira, ka mihi atu aho ki te awa o Waikato. Ko Pauline Woodhull Rahul, ko Jim Chidlow oku matua. Nō Rachel Chidlow toku ingoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Hi everyone and welcome, and as Natalie said, I manage the research services team here at Te Tumahiringa Libraries and Learning Services at the University of Auckland, and indeed my presentation this morning is going to talk about a recent project where we migrated our Elements instance over to digital science cloud hosting, and I'll also talk with you a little bit about the upgrade we're doing at the moment on our hosted instance, which is all very new for us. And yes, I'm sorry I didn't join the party yesterday, but the timing didn't work for New Zealand, so my presentation doesn't quite line up with where this fitted in the agenda, but you get the idea. Next slide. So this simple diagram here summarizes quite a large project that we undertook last year. So what we did is we migrated and upgraded both DSpace and Elements. We moved them both onto cloud servers, and as I say, oh golly, I've lost my words. Clicked on the wrong slide, pushed through several upgrades at the same time. So we started gearing up for this project in 2019. We completed at the end of 2020. In the process of upgrading from Elements 5.6 to 5.19, we only implemented the absolute minimum new functionality just so we could actually finish the project by the end of the year. Assessment and implementation of the new functionality since version, why is this going automatically? Hang on. Let me see if I can control my slides. They seem to have developed a life of their own. Now I've lost my spot. Where was I up to? Yeah, so what we're doing is we're looking at a lot of that new functionality that came in from version 6 with the current upgrade project we're working on at the moment. So how did we do all this? I thought a photo of some people could be quite nice at this point. So this is our project team here. We had a mix of staff from across several university teams that all supported the project. We had staff with technical knowledge. And we had staff that provided comms assistance. We had the product owner from Libraries and Learning Services who manages our entire IT portfolio. From Central IT, we had a lead developer who worked closely with digital science, implementing technical changes and managing technical things from our end. We were allocated an IT project manager who has been key to keeping the project flowing. Cameron, our IT project manager, was also able to second in-house IT expertise as it was required from other parts of the university. We also had a project steering committee that oversaw the work that the project team did, and they approved changes and recommendations as required. Our steering committee was quite small, and it included a few key staff from across the university's research ecosystem, which ensured the project was aligned with the entire university IT portfolio. So quick left to right on the photo. On the very left is Alex, then there's myself, Yin, Margaret, Annabelle, Jenny and Cameron, and I know some of these guys are on the webinar this morning, so thank you for joining in and supporting me. So how did we do all of this? Obviously something that we're all familiar with dealing with now is COVID, and in 2020 we had to work from home quite a bit here in New Zealand. So we used a number of collaboration tools to keep momentum up, manage our weekly meetings, and record our decisions and actions. Microsoft Teams was our core tool, and it worked really well. Project management tool that Digital Science use is Basecamp, and that was used to track key deliverables during the project and liaise directly as questions came up. Cameron, our IT project manager, had a good working relationship with Digital Science, and the staff that we worked with were based in the UK, so we were working with a time difference as well. We had to be really nimble with the timings of this project. Oh, what's going on? And we had to sort of fit around key academic dates and other academic processes across the university as well, especially if these processes relied on the use of elements. So we needed to fit in around that. A lot of things that we learned from this project: mahi-tahi, teamwork, working together. It just wouldn't have worked if we hadn't all pulled together and worked really well. And in the process of completing this project, we've created some excellent working relationships with key staff from across the university. Trying to upgrade as many versions as we did if we were locally hosted would have been overwhelming to manage, but by being vendor hosted, the process was a lot easier. And don't forget, we were adding in a repository upgrade and migration in the middle of it as well. So very much like trying to turn the Titanic around some days. These kinds of projects generally always hit snags. Even without COVID, the project took a lot longer than we had anticipated because of all sorts of issues that when we dug a little deeper, they were a lot more technical than we thought. But, you know, you kind of get that with this sort of project. Oh, geez, where'd that cake photo come from? That was my last point. But what I wanted to say is, taking some extra time, we certainly resolved a few long-standing issues with our implementation and customizations and elements. Another thing I'd say is you just cannot over communicate these changes. We had a pretty good developed comms plan. We had clear messages, and we had people with designated responsibility to execute the plan. And here's my cake photo. Celebration, that was my point. It's really important to celebrate and acknowledge achievements and milestones as they come up. So what are we working on next? This year so far, we have upgraded our test instance to version 6.2, and we're thinking we might squeeze in a little wee upgrade to version 6.3. Oh, why are my slides? They've got a mind of their own today. So we've upgraded our test instance, and we're making a lot of decisions about new functionality right back from version 5.6 about what we're going to implement when, and we're testing all of that. Our plan is to upgrade production once we've done all the testing. Maybe August, September, but who knows? I don't want to commit to a date right now. We are also going to be implementing the discovery module this year, and that's replacing an in-house end-of-life staff expertise directory. The University of Auckland is also a development partner with Digital Science for research funding solution, and we'll be looking at implementing that next year sometime. So really the last thing that I wanted to share with you is how hosting has helped the whole process. Certainly by being hosted, we're able to look at the discovery and research funding solution modules. We can consider them, and maybe I've got a itchy trigger finger on my mouse, and look at implementing those. And certainly staff cost and time involved in managing and maintaining elements is reduced. The technical support now comes from the Digital Science end. And the plan is that the university will eventually have a consolidated platform to support multiple research reporting workflows. So our publications, our profiles, grants, awards. And with having discovery and research funding solution hosted as well, we're bypassing and reducing the amount of work required at our end to implement and support all of that. So the value in being hosted is multiplied once you put it all together. And, you know, I know it's a Digital Science presentation today, but really very excellent vendor support from you guys, and Leonie, thank you. And that's pretty much all I was wanting to share with you today. I don't quite know why my slides had a mind of their own and decided to bounce ahead of where I was up to, but anyway, you know,
It gave us, nice sneak peek spoilers of what was about to come. Well done on wrestling them back into submission.
I might have put some automated timings or something into my power. Who knows? Anyway, I made it through the end without too many disasters.
It's all good. I think we've all become accustomed to minor Zoom glitches over the past year or so.
Yeah, exactly. At least I wasn't stuck as a cat or a potato. We've all seen those Zoom fails online.
Yes, the creepy cat man who now haunts my nightmares. So we haven't had any questions in from anyone. I have a question. What sort of cake was it? It looked like an amazing cake.
Oh, there were 2 cakes and they were amazing. I know, I was trying to make the slides a little more interesting, so I thought, oh, maybe a photo of me with a whole lot of cake will make it a bit more interesting. I think one was chocolate and one was like peach or something. They're very nice.
Nice. I'm reaching the time of night where I'm interested in midnight snacks.
Yeah, well, it's just coming up lunchtime here in New Zealand, so I'm also thinking a bit of cake could be quite good. I have put my Twitter handle and my email address there, so if anyone has got any questions or they themselves are thinking about migrating to being hosted and would like to discuss it with a customer that's already done it, because there's certainly things that we did that we probably wouldn't do again, or things that we do differently. So, always happy to share any insights that we might have that could be helpful for anyone else.
Thank you. That's super generous. So yeah, do feel free to reach out to Rachel or to anyone here if you want to talk about hosting. And thank you so much, Rachel, for taking the time to present to us
No problem.
today.
You're most welcome.